right, so it's so extremely powdery dry out here, I couldn't even really record the process because you couldn't see nothing out the back glass of the tractor. But I did record some clips. You've seen how rough this field was. Just beat me to death rough with all the root balls and stuff that's out here. So now you can take a look at where we're at. So not perfectly smooth, but we're still gonna roll and pack this. But now we don't have these big dry root balls and clumps out here. So we've got everything nice and smooth and feathered out. Now you don't see the deep trenches anymore. There's nooks and crannies for this tiny seed to go everywhere. I could come back and just pack the field, which means I don't have to run the disc again. But that's assuming we don't get all that rain and I got to bust the field up yet again tomorrow. Alright, so it's time to get hooked up to my fertilizer spreader here because I also use this for my seed spreading. I actually hooked up an electronic actuator right here. I'll throw that video at the end of this if you want to watch. And I can use push button control in here to actuate, open and close my spreader right here based on how much seed that I see coming out. The bad thing about fertilizer hoppers and spreaders with cab tractors is you're supposed to be able to reach around behind the tractor and manually open and close it. That's about impossible with the glass. Whenever I've got this up high, you can't actually open the glass anyways. Plus, who wants all the fertilizer, seed, and dust inside of their cab tractor? So that electronic actuator took care of that problem for me. All right, here we go. This is what brown top millet looks like. Now this has got a little bit of trash and stuff in it because I bought it directly from the farmer pretty much. And you can get it at a major discount to have a tiny little bit of trash in it. So hopefully this doesn't plug up my hopper whenever I go to spread it. But overall, it's relatively clean. All right, so I'm just gonna scoop this out with a bucket. And if I wind up with any trash and debris problems, what I can do is have another bucket out here and go get me some stainless mesh and lay across top of it, pour from one bucket into the other, and that mesh should get the trash and debris out and leave me with nothing but clean seed. But I think we're gonna be okay. All right, this is gonna take a good little while until I get where I can get the bucket way down in there. Typically, when it comes to brown top millet planting, I try to put out about 40, maybe 50 pounds per acre when I'm broadcasting it, because you're gonna lose a lot of it. A lot of it's not gonna get planted, the birds are gonna scratch it up. If you're drilling it in and have a seed drill, like 20 pounds per acre is plenty. But 40 pounds per acre broadcasted is a good rule of thumb. We're probably gonna wind up being even more than that today, which means we're gonna have to fertilize heavy here in just a few weeks. All right, so this is my homemade roller packer. I believe that was 2 100-pound propane tanks. I cut the bottoms off of them, welded them together here in the center, and then put some rebar on this for reinforcement and to help make contact with the ground, smush seeds down, do things such as that. Also welded in a bung down here on the end, so this is water filled. You can dump it out or fill it full. And I just rebuilt this frame because this got badly damaged whenever we got hit by a tornado years ago. Now it's like 1/4-inch wall, really thick steel frame. I just welded it up to a 2-inch coupler up front that can bolt right onto a tractor, a four-wheeler, or anything. But this gets pretty heavy, so I like to pull it with a tractor. All right, so what we're trying to accomplish here is now that we have all the seed out in the field, you have to have good seed to soil contact. Seed straight on top of the soil typically will not germinate. You want it to be slightly covered and pressed and compressed in the soil. Again, you don't want air pockets and things around the seed or the roots itself. It's just not gonna work. So this, because it's got a lot of weight in it, well, the water does a really good job of mushing those tiny seeds down into the soil. That's the reason I don't need to really go back and cover them up, because the ground's still really fluffy out there. Also, because of the weight of this with the water in it, does a really good job of leveling the field, mushing down the tractor tracks and ruts, the ruts left behind by the disc, and those root clumps and balls that are still out there. It'll bust those up as well. So you run over the field. I'm only going to do once today, but do it twice. It gets that field nice and packed down, level and smooth, which is really important for whenever later in the season we want to go back and mow down all of this brown top millet out there once it puts seed heads on. I don't want to be mowing up big dirt clumps and dulling my blades and knocking dirt all around underneath the mower. So I want a relatively level field. I don't know how that crazy dog is running in this heat. It is over 100 degrees with the heat index. He just went swimming and now he's running. All right, so let's take a look at everything that's out here. If you'll look, that packer does a pretty good job. Just a couple seeds here and there. But overall, oh, here comes crazy dog. Overall, not many seeds left exposed. That's a good thing about planting and packing your seeds in when the ground's still nice and soft. Now I do see some areas where there's little strips of seed. No big deal. I actually just ran dove out of here. This is kind of like, well, pre-baiting them up, I guess. They'll come out here and scratch all that up. It won't go to waste. And what they can't get up, by the time we get a good hard packing rain, well, it'll get washed in and covered up, and the rain will finish this off. Then it'll start germinating. Once it gets about 6 to 8 inches tall, we'll come out here and we'll put out fertilizer. That'll be in a couple of weeks. We'll record that as well, and I'll explain what type of fertilizer I use and how much. All right, so a big difference here. We started here with grass just a few weeks ago, busted it all up, had the field rough, big root balls and nastiness everywhere. And we have worked it down now to some really smooth, good looking ground. So now we just pray for rain and we wait and get this fertilized up. And the season will be here in a couple of months. All right, it's burning the heck up. I got to go do some chores. We've got some game cameras out now. So in one of the next videos that we do something like this, we'll pull the cards and see if we got any bears and deer and other stuff around as well. I know some of y'all have been looking for those game camera pictures. All right, plenty more tractor videos are coming. A lot more food plots coming as well. We'll catch you on the next one.